boys and girls. My name is Bobby. This is Wild Raven Tarot. Welcome. I'm giving everybody a chance to show up. I see Miss Tarot D has already commented. How you doing? Oh, Miss Tarot D, I got your message. Thank you very much. And we will get together to do that. Okay. She's here. Hey, glowing light. Welcome back, my dear. Thank you, Red, for this special day. Hello, Bridget. Bridget, I got your message yesterday too. Actually, I got it this morning when I woke up. But hey, boo. Thank you for the compliment. That was wonderful. Shannon, what's up? Joanne Miranda, Selena, mi hermana, what's up, girlfriend? Selena is my Thursday night co-host and one of my dearest friends who has been there for me in some rough times. Madame Maru from Madame Maru's House of Cards. What's up? Kenneth. Wow, everybody's just popping in, huh? Barbara, how you doing? Annie, good to see you today, my love. Jackie's here. I didn't see her name. Jackie Jan. There she is. Hey, what up, boo? All right. She's work lurking. I expected as much. You're always working, my dear. So I hope you guys don't mind, but I was running late as usual. So I'm going to eat my ego. Welcome. So why are we here? Well, World AIDS Day, December 1st, happens every year. This isn't a topic that people like to talk about, even the people closest to me. Hey, Denise, how you doing, my love? The people around me know I'm sick, but I should mention, I have been HIV positive since the early 90s is when I was first diagnosed, and they think at that point I had it for 10 years before that. We're going to go over what the hell that is and what kind of effect it has had on my life. So mods, take care of the chat for me. I'm going to be looking at my notes right now. So let's start with the basics. This is not a class on HIV. No, I'm just giving you a little background first before I go into my story, okay? So what is HIV? HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, is a virus that attacks cells that help the body fight infection, making a person more vulnerable to other infections and diseases. It takes away your defense system. It's spread by contact with certain bodily fluids of a person with HIV, most commonly during unprotected sex. And what that means is sex without a condom, or somebody who's using HIV medicine or PrEP. Or through a sharing of drug equipment like needles. I used to have a partner who did HIV education. That's how we met. And I used to help him out with his education here's an example. All right. If left untreated, HIV can lead to the disease AIDS, which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. The human body can't get rid of HIV. It's there. And no effective HIV cure exists. So once you have HIV, you have it for life. Luckily, however, effective treatment with HIV medicine called antiretroviral therapy, or ART, is available. They make it sound all cute. And I should mention, I pulled this off of the CDC's website. If taken as prescribed, HIV medicine can reduce the amount of HIV in the blood, also called your viral load. Okay, your viral load is what you're aiming for. You want to keep it low. Um, this is called viral suppression. If a person's viral load is so low that a standard lab can't detect it, this is called having an undetectable viral load. People with HIV who take HIV medicine as prescribed and um, get and keep an undetectable viral load can live long and healthy lives just like anybody else and will not transmit HIV to their HIV negative partners through sex. So that means if your viral load is undetectable, you're not going to be transmitting it to your partner that way. Okay. It's advised to still use a condom, though. Don't get all dangerous. And in addition, there are effective methods to prevent getting HIV through sex or drug use, including pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is PrEP, medicine that people at high risk for HIV take to prevent getting HIV from sex or injection drug use. So it's like a pre-party pill. And post-exposure prophylaxis, which is PEP, PEP, HIV medicine taken within 72 hours after a possible exposure to prevent the virus from taking hold. We didn't have any of this when I was young. All right, what is AIDS? AIDS is the late stage of HIV infection that occurs when the body's immune system is badly damaged because of the virus. Because of the virus in the US, most people with HIV don't develop AIDS because taking HIV medicine as prescribed stops the progression of the disease. A person with HIV is considered to have progressed to AIDS when the number of their CD4 cells, that's the T cells, the helper cells, falls below 200 per cubic milliliter. So 200, you want to keep your CD4 count below that. All right. Oh, not below that. If it falls below that, you're considered to have AIDS, is what I said. In someone with a healthy immune system, a CD4 counts are between 500 and 1600. Right now, my CD4 count is 60. I have very little immune system right now. You guys may have noticed I've been losing weight and getting sick lately. This is why. My CD4 count is low and my viral load is high. The medicine is having an issue with me. So I have to go back to the doctors to see if I can get it sorted. Okay, back to this. Considered AIDS. If it falls below that, or they developed one or more opportunistic infections regardless of their CD4 count. So that means you can have a high CD4 count. And if you get those opportunistic infections, it kind of doesn't look good for you. Without HIV medicine, this is important. People with AIDS typically survive about 3 years. Okay, 3. That's why I panic every time I get this sick. Once someone has a dangerous opportunistic illness, life expectancy without treatment falls to about a year. I have opportunistic infections. Most prevalent is my secondary disease. I have coccidiomycosis. That's called valley fever. It's a fungal spore out here in the Southwest that's in the ground. And most people with a healthy immune system might get flu-like symptoms for a day. That's it. But people like me, it will devastate. I was in the hospital for a couple months. I had brain surgery, and we're going to talk about that. All right. But people who start HIV medicine soon after they get HIV experience more benefits. That's why HIV testing is so important. How do you know if you have HIV? Well, the only way to know for sure that you have HIV is to get tested. Testing is relatively simple, and this blew my mind when I read it. You can ask your healthcare provider for an HIV test and go to the doctor, say, I want to get tested. That's what I did. And when I was 15, we're going to talk about that bastard. Um, many medical clinics, substance abuse programs, community health centers, and hospitals offer them too. If you test positive, you can be connected to HIV care to start treatment as soon as possible. If you test negative, you have the information you need to take steps to prevent getting HIV in the future. Google HIV testing locations near you. HIV self-testing is now an option. Can you believe this? It's like the ketone test for diabetes or drug tests at home. You can test from the comfort of your home. I did not know that. As far as that goes, there's something else I put on here. With an HIV self-test, though, you can get your test results within 20 minutes. Blew my mind. You can buy an HIV self-test kit at a pharmacy or online. Some health departments or community-based organizations also provide those HIV self-test kits for a reduced cost or for free. You can call your local health department, which is what I did. Call your local health department. All right. Here's a note on that topic. State laws regarding self-testing vary and may limit availability, so check with a healthcare provider for additional testing options. That's a little background. Let's take a look at the chat real quick. Oh, thank you, everybody. I just looked and saw what's going on. Bless your hearts. You know what, Bridget, in the 90s, when I was diagnosed, there was a saying that was just coming into being: silence equals death. If you stay quiet about this terrible disease, it's going to run rampant. You need to shine a light on it, and you need to let people know what to look out for. Okay. Okay. Oh, bless your heart, Miss Tarot D. Yeah, it's true. Trump is a twat waffle, because if he doesn't see it, then it doesn't exist. That's exactly what he's trying to do for people like us. Or me. He's trying to erase us and wait for us to die out. So I know hey Hector, how you doing? I know a lot of people in my life have given me shit for being HIV positive. They've literally attacked me saying, I can't wait for you to die. A long time ago, I had a date. I met at a bar. I went in, and of course, you tell somebody. That's right off the bat. I just want to let you know. But this was in the 90s. He literally got up and ran out so fast from the bar, he knocked his bar stool over. Thank you, Ms. Tarot D. There is a lot of stigma around it, and I don't care. I will be in your face the same way I'm like, yeah, I'm gay. I have a husband. I'll talk about my husband. I don't like to talk about this topic because it makes the people around me uncomfortable. That's the only reason. My husband, if I start talking about how I feel on this topic, he doesn't like me to dwell on the negative. He gets worried too, obviously. Hey, Shannon, how you doing? My friends will let me vent, but there are times when it is, thank you so much, Miss Tarot D. There are times when it gets a little much for them, so they don't really want to hear me talk about death. And it's uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially when you love somebody and you're hearing them talk about the possibility of their dying. Um, Thank you, Rebecca. It is unnerving for a lot of people, so I don't really talk about it. That's it, exactly it. That he doesn't want anything to happen to me. He's scared. He's well, both of us have serious illnesses, and we take care of each other. Um, my illness allows me more mobility. I get sick in spurts for weeks at a time. Um, he has chronic fatigue syndrome, so I'm able to get up and do more. So I do. But when I start to falter, he knows it and he steps up. I love him. We are a tribe, Miss Charity. We are a community. So calm your tits again. um, yeah, let's start at the very beginning. It's a very fine place to start. Um, it's no secret. I'm a big Mo. I am gay. I came out when I was 15. I'm 56, 57. We'll say 22. At that point, this is back in the late 80s. Gay wasn't what it was now, what it is now. It didn't have the freedom. It was because of people in my generation, Miss Charity's generation. We fought to be seen. We fought to be heard. When AIDS hit the scene, the general public didn't give a damn. It was just a bunch of queers falling down on the dance floor. They didn't give a damn until it started really taking off. Elton John got involved with it. Princess Di got involved with it. Liz Taylor got involved with it. And then the unthinkable happened. America's man's man, Rock Hudson, the dude everybody wanted to be like, came out as having AIDS. And it devastated the world. And it threw a real scare into everybody. Suddenly it was a panic. Denise, it was horrible back then. I lost my whole circle of friends in the 90s to AIDS and drugs. It was horrid. I stopped going to funerals after the 8th one. I remember it was Russellette was what we called him. I wasn't going to do it anymore. No, it wasn't Russell's. Who was it? It was somebody, but during the music, when everybody was sad, suddenly switched to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I was like, I'm loving this. But that was a great way for me to end it. That was the last one. I stopped going to funerals on a high note, so to speak. So let's take it in order. When I came out, I was panicked that my family wouldn't understand because of the mindset of the decade. It was not a good time. So I did the only thing a responsible 15-year-old boy could do. I ran away. This is my breakfast, you guys. Breakfast with Bobby. So, I stole a car, ran away to be with an uncle in New Orleans who was gay, because I figure he would help me out. He would show me the ropes, help me navigate my life. It didn't go well. I ended up at that point as a 15-year-old prostitute in New Orleans, in the French Quarter. I was being introduced to older men I didn't realize that there was a transaction involved till much later in life. Um, so I developed HIV. We didn't know about condom protection back then. It the saying "bag it up" or put a bag on your willy or anything like that wasn't a thing. Yes, condoms existed, but it wasn't prevalent. It was for pregnancy. Speaking of condoms, do you guys know there's a difference in the type of condoms out there? And what do I mean by that? You guys have heard of lambskin condoms? Um, well, lambskin condoms will keep out sperm cells. However, the HIV virus is smaller than that and can slip through. First time my sons came home and didn't like something and said it was gay, I slapped him and put them on restriction for a week. Got it. Yes, lambskin will prevent semen, but the HIV virus is too small for the little holes and it will get through. Polyurethane condoms. If you have HIV or are worried about HIV, use polyurethane condoms. All right. Do you guys remember when we were advised to wear condoms back in the day and everybody was like, I'm gonna hate it, it's never gonna work, people hate wearing condoms, it ruins the feeling? Now we don't think about it, it's a thing. Denise, awesome. Yes, Maru and I did read together last night. It was fantastic. It can slip through the condoms. A lot of people don't know that. Yadira, that is exactly true. That is one of the reasons I'm doing this. People know that HIV exists. They know AIDS exists, but very few people can say they know somebody that has HIV or AIDS because there's a stigma. So people tend to keep it to themselves. They don't really go out of their way to tell people about it. You guys have heard the name Ryan White. You remember him? He was a kid who developed AIDS, I think, through a blood transfusion. And rather than be supportive, his neighbors bombed him out of his house. They burned his house down. There was a panic back then. People were throwing their roommates out of their houses. Parents were kicking people out. Nobody wanted anything to do with these plague victims. They didn't know how it was transmitted. They were scared to get it. When I came back to California from living with my uncle, junior year, I went back into high school. When I left, I was a plump kid. When I came back, I was a stick. I was about half the weight I am now. I told my mom, no, I sprained my ankle. So while we were at the hospital and my mom and stepdad were out of the room, I told the doctor, who was fine as fuck, I told the doctor I'd like an HIV test, please, or an AIDS test. And he went, oh, you only need that if you're sexually active. And I said, I've been sucking dick for the past 2 years for cash. Freaked him out. That doctor never came back in the room. All right. Even doctors at that point didn't want to deal with you if there was a possibility. It was pretty bad. People weren't able to get the care because nurses and doctors didn't want to approach them. That was a big thing for me. I was scared to tell people. I was a kid. I didn't know how to handle life, let alone handling a disease, right? Anyway, the doctor didn't give me the HIV test. I didn't get that sorted until 1993. I went down to the health department because I was a drug addict, but I was very, very skinny. No, don't be sorry, Bridget. It happened, and it helped make me who I am. Patients were abandoned in hospital rooms without any care and left starving and soiled. That is true. That pisses me off to this day. They were left to starve and sit in their own shit. All right. It it's very hard to get HIV. It's very hard to get AIDS. You need a liquid from an infected person in an open area to go into, like a cut, a vajuju, a booty. You need these to match with these. And if this doesn't happen, you're not going to get it. You can't get it walking through a room close to somebody. You can't get it. Well, you can get it kissing somebody if you've got a cut in your mouth, if the fluids interact. Especially if you've got bad teeth. Bad teeth tend to bleed, so you want to be careful about that. Hey, Jackie, welcome back. So, my story. In 1993, I was a homeless drug addict back working the street, which is, I had everything. I had a partner, a career, career I was managing. And I got involved in drugs again, and it just went downhill. Meth was my drug of choice. I leaned into my drugs and alcohol and bohemian lifestyle and just didn't give a shit anymore because I knew I was going to die. I didn't care. I wanted to die. I saw no future for me. So I just was living in the night. That's it. Absolutely, you can post the link, Rebecca. Please, you guys, share this. HIV/AIDS should not be something that we whisper about. It's there. Yeah, don't ask, don't tell thing. So dating was difficult. I've always had long-term boyfriends. Once I got off the street, got off drugs, it was a friend of mine, Jim, helped me get cleaned up. But dating was hard. I met Mark. We were together for 6 years. Very supportive, very good man. And all the men that I've been with in my life, I've had like 3 or 4 true partners in my life and one husband. My husband that I've been with now is the coolest dude ever. He will go hurt anybody that comes at me. The problem with the 90s was there was a lot of don't ask, don't tell in the military with HIV/AIDS. People were a little more hush hush about everything. It just wasn't out there. And honestly, I take great pride in knowing that I was very involved in the gay community back then, doing the Pride festivals, working on campaigns. I was a druggie, but I was an American druggie. I was here for the people. I'm proud of myself that I was an active part of change that helped bring about what we have now. It was people in my era and generation who fought our asses off to be seen. We were getting our asses kicked. And we didn't give a shit. You were going to see us. You were going to hear us. Silence equals death was a big thing for me. I was like, that's fucking right. I'm not going to be silent. Um, okay. So when I was diagnosed, it was the scariest thing I'd ever been through. And I was a homeless drug addict. This was a scary thing. And for about a year, I dealt with it and then thought about it. And I'm like, everybody's dying around me. I'm losing my friends. And I'm looking in a mirror and I'm like, you're going to die of drugs and disease if you don't get the fuck out of here. So I called a cousin of mine and she helped me not only get out of town, but gave me the strength and support that I need to clean up. And I had to leave California because, like I say, all over the LA area, Orange County area, I knew everybody. So I was going to stay high if I stayed there. So I left. Went to live with my aunt in El Centro, California, and she understood that I was coming off drugs and stuck me in a bedroom, made sure I had food and Oreo cookies. I detoxed for the next month. It was horrible back then, you guys. I've had several, I think 4 close calls with death throughout my life, where the disease is concerned. The last big one, because I have no immune system, my body was subject to the coccidiomycosis virus or a spore. It got into my system. I got valley fever. And what that did caused lesions. And when I say lesions, I mean a rotting. A fungus got on my brain, on my cerebellum. And you guys haven't seen it, but there's a big scar going down the back of my head and my neck where they kind of opened me up for the craniotomy. Thank you, Selena. I love you too, baby. I am proud of myself, Bridget. I fucking am proud of myself. I've worked my ass off throughout my life. And in the process of taking care of myself, I've always tried to take care of other people. Thanks, Jen. Where was I? It was a rough time back then, you guys. It was really, really rough. I tried to be a good guy. When I developed the valley fever, shit started going sideways quickly. I've got 4 lesions in my lungs. I've got 1 on my brain, which I have to get monitored every year so that it doesn't grow. Thank you, Mangled. I am allergic to the medication that they give for valley fever. So I have to use a secondary medication, which isn't as good. I'm allergic to fluconazole, and I have to use voriconazole. I know that doesn't mean anything to you guys, but it's tiring. Valley fever has its own symptoms, and then you add the symptoms of HIV in with that, and then diabetes on top of that. I get sick. Miss Tarody and I joke about this a lot, how we're able to pull our shit together for an hour or 2 to do these shows, but you guys really don't see all the backstory. I'll give you a glimpse into my day. Okay. About 6 in the morning, I start waking up nauseous. Reach over, grab my vape, take a hit to kill the nausea. Sometimes it doesn't work and the nausea just keeps growing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm going to throw up today. And I'm like, yep, here it comes. And, I don't panic anymore, run through the house. I just get up, go to the bathroom, spend the next 15 minutes in there being violently ill, um, brush my teeth, go back, lay down, hit a little more weed to settle myself, and then start my day. Maybe go back to sleep. Um, Normally, I'm going to bed at 6 in the morning. Selena and I are texting at that time. Um, she's just getting up, and I'm just getting to sleep. HIV causes insomnia. My husband didn't realize that till about 5 years ago. And he says, "Did you know insomnia is one of the side effects of HIV?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've mentioned this." Yes, she asks me for pics as proof. When I tell her I'm going to bed, I'm asleep. She's like, pic, no proof. So I'll send her a picture of me going, see, I'm asleep. There are days when I don't get out of bed. And when I say days, I mean 1, 2, 3 days where I won't get out of bed. Um, on those days, my husband and I will order something in. I've lost 10 pounds in the past 2 months. Proof for it never happened. That's what she says. I'm trying really hard to put weight back on. It's a scary battle when you realize your pants are falling off. My rings fall off. So I'm working on gaining more weight. The problem is I'm allergic to nuts, so peanuts and things like that, almonds. All nuts I'm allergic to except hazelnuts. I can't eat peanuts for protein. So the snacks that most people would eat, I can't do. Milk, I'm lactose intolerant. So one of the things they told me when I first developed this disease was milkshakes put weight on. When you're diabetic, then you've got the issue of the sugar, and then a lactose intolerant with the milk. It's a constant battle to find things that I can eat that will keep the weight on. I've talked to nutritionists and this and that. And anyway, I'm not too worried about that. I've been doing good at it. I'll continue to do good at that. My goal here is to talk about what it's like to have HIV. It's scary. It's lonely. When I find somebody in my life who has a debilitating disease or serious illness, I want to protect them. I want to be there for them. I want to make sure they are taken care of because I know what I'm going through and it's scary. And I don't ever want anybody to feel that. I've got friends around me who go out of their way just to tell me they love me. Selena, Miss Tarot D, Bridget, all you guys in chat, Joey, the Vale Cottage Witch, my best friend, who is back in town now, by the way. She will be with me tomorrow. We're going to interview Joey and break into her story. So, what happens when I get sick? Let's talk about that. It feels like I can't stand up. I have no energy. There's a feeling that I get. Have you ever been so exhausted that your body's actually hurting, where your muscles are actually in pain just because they're so tired? I get that. Fermented yogurt, does that have 99% lactose free? Okay, I'll try that, Manu. Can you do me a favor and message me what that is? Because I will forget. We both know it. And highly favored by let's see. Why do I fight and keep going and not blow my brains out? Because that's stupid. Um, life is full of challenges, and if in this life I'm meant to learn how to face these challenges, that's what I'm going to do. By taking that other way out, that's not going to help me, and the universe is just going to put me right back in the earth to learn those lessons. Okay, so why run away from it? um, I'm going to understand my life as best I can. I'm not going to run away from it. I'm not going to run away from people. The 90s were a bad time. Remember, gay bashing was a big thing back then. Twice there were attempts to bash me, and they didn't turn out well for the other people. Not because I kicked their ass, because they got gang banged by everybody running out of the gay bar. The funniest thing I ever saw was a gay basher attempt to go at a drag queen. And this drag queen, now the drag queens where I used to live, a lot of them were hookers. So to protect themselves, they had rat tail combs that were metal that they would have in their hair. And this fucker came at them and these queens chased that fucker down the street, and I laughed so hard I thought I was gonna die. They didn't know how much nerve they had doing that, right? The 90s is when everybody said, fuck this shit. And we took control. We took control of the AIDS situation. We took control of our political well-being. Throughout life, there's been, or throughout American history, there's been gay activists silently working in the background or quietly working in the background. When people like Harvey Milk came out and stood in the public eye, it caused a shift. It really did. People literally said, "We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore." Now, I told you my viral load right now is off the charts. My CD4 count is very low. I don't panic. I don't stress, because your frame of mind dictates everything. All is mind. I follow Hermetic teachings. That's the first tenet. All is mind. If I keep a positive mindset, it will help. I won't give in to panic. I won't give in to people. I've had awful, awful things said to me. Why don't you just fucking die? I don't know. Why don't you? Hey, Larry. Sex. Sex is something I don't really think about now. You know, I'm married. I don't think about sex. As long as you're protected, sex is fine. In my current situation, without a condom, it would be dangerous for my partner. I always use condoms. What questions do you guys have? I mean, this is pretty much it. I've told you what HIV is, what the difference between HIV and AIDS is. I want everybody to be aware that HIV/AIDS happens all year long. It's not just on December 1st. All right. It's not like Groundhog Day, where Rock Hudson comes out of his grave and if he sees his shadow. No. Um, I don't think I will talk about this throughout the year. It's not something I like to do. Um, how have your partners handled it, and how receptive? I think the best response I ever got, the most encouraging, was when I told the guy I was starting to date, um, I have HIV. I've had it since I was this old, and this is my situation. Just throwing it out there, letting you know. And he turned around, looked at me, and he said, "And that's what condoms are for." And I was like, "I'm going to marry you." And you know what? I did. Um, I married an intelligent man. He said, "Okay. Thoughts on Rent, the musical and movie?" I never saw it. Um, I know the one song just because I saw it performed live. You couldn't turn on a TV for a little while and see that damn song. What was it? 500, whatever. Um, yes, my husband, when he found out that I lost my insurance, I didn't tell him for a couple weeks. My insurance lapsed. I do have problems with my memory, and we'll talk about that. Um, he flipped, and I hadn't seen him that angry in a long time, because time means nothing to me. I lose track of times. Um, I there like, I'll think I just told you something, but it was actually like 2 weeks ago. You know, time is difficult for me. And that's because I'm high a lot of the time to handle the nausea and pain from the HIV. Um, and then when I had my brain surgery, it caused physical problems. I have tremors in my hands now. Um, I walk with something called ataxia, which means, have you ever seen an ant walk where they're kind of all over? I do that. So I use a cane. Um, and I don't mind using a cane. When I got out of the hospital, I was in a wheelchair for a while, and then a walker. So I'm happy to use a cane now. And there are times when I walk around without my cane, in public. Problem is, I get tired out of nowhere and will lose my balance. So it's safer to always have that cane with me. Um, time means nothing to me, Selena. You guys know this. So when I'm like, what? What were we talking about? It's not on purpose. Um, it's an actual physical thing with me. I have good friends. Edward says you lived in San Francisco for 16 years, started in 88. Oh my gosh. Lost some good friends over those years. Those were the dark times. Yes. 88. Medication back in the old days. I dated somebody who had HIV. Well, he had AIDS actually back then, and he was in bad shape. He was on a drug called AZT. Bobby, I'll remind you that you owe Selena $50. Why do I owe Selena $50? Yeah, I owe her a free reading. We talked about that last night. She's gonna get hooked up. I got you, boo. Yes, AZT was one of the first AIDS drugs. It was violent. It was horrible. I saw what this drug did to people. And granted, it was the best option at the time, but the drug itself was almost as bad as the disease. Um, my memory is fucked up. You guys don't know. Uh, People got so sick of all that shit. You're damn right they did. Um, yeah, I remember the disease and the drugs made it to where he could barely walk. Um, we broke up. He didn't. He might have passed. I don't know, but he was a twat waffle, so we broke up. Um, I just dismissed class. I wanted to thank Bobby and everyone courageously sharing their stories again. Thank you so much for being aware and raising awareness. Love, love, love. Thank you. Um, so HIV now is not the death sentence it was. And the truth of the matter is, given a death sentence for the era that I was in, I beat the odds. I'm a survivor. I'm a fucking cockroach. And I will continue to survive because not because I'm focused on living, which is good, but because I've got shit to do. There's people out there that need help. There's people that need a shoulder. There's people that need a hand. And if I could do that, I'm going to do that. I put so much awful things into the world as a young man. So much awful. Yes, Silky, that is right. Most people can keep their viral loads so low they're not even transmittable. HIV is in your system. You cannot get it out. It is part of who I am. So I call it my dragon. I have 3 dragons, is what I say. I've got my HIV, my valley fever, and my diabetes. And that came about. Gosh, I was living in Yuma and I was feeling sorry for myself and pitying myself. And somebody made an offhand comment about dragons, and I was like, yeah, I've got dragons. I've got this. And then I was like, I've got dragons. They're my dragons. So that changed my viewpoint on things. Now there's something to be taken care of and looked after, not feared. I love my dragons. I don't love having them, but you have a work meeting. Love you. I love you too, Mr. OD. And I'll message me after you're done, okay? Are there any resources you'd recommend people to learn more and educate people about it? Well, you can go to the CDC website, and then there is an official HIV/AIDS website too that you can Google. I have dragons and a drag queen on my side. That's right, and I'm more scared of the drag queen, tell you the truth. Drag queens are dangerous bitches when they set their mind to it. So, love you. Yeah, I'm 56, 57. I can't remember. I was born in 1969. The year of the cock. So that is what it's like to have HIV. It's an emotional roller coaster. It's scary at times. I'm not scared to die. I work with Hecate, Santa Muerte, the Morrigan. You're also a cock, Bridget? Awesome. I'm 56. Thanks, Maru. Y'all think I'm joking. I literally have to ask my husband how old I am. How old am I? Yeah. It's a spiritual journey. You have to always look for the positive in life. There have been times when I'm with friends and I started throwing up, couldn't make it to the bathroom, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna be fine. Hold on. No, it's okay. I'm gonna be, trying to make jokes while I'm throwing up. Are you a cock too? Oh, if you guys know your Chinese zodiac sign, what is it? I love it. I'm here with a bunch of cocks. Oh, I love it. Just what a gay man loves to hear. Oh, we got Krista as a monkey. Cock-a-doodle-doo for Maru. Love it. I attract other chicks. Yeah, give me more questions, you guys, because I was going to make notes and then I thought, no, I'm just going to speak from the heart. And we've been talking for an hour, so I think we've done pretty good. You're a fire rooster, Joanne. I exhibit no surprise. A stupid goat is not bad. That is force, honey. That is power. All right. That's Aries energy. Woohoo! You don't stand in the way of a goat. Okay, cock-a-doodle-doo me. I love it. Oh, I forgot my egos. I put honey on my egos today. So good. I don't know if Joey sells it, but ooh, a Tiger Annie. Joey made me some infused cinnamon ginger honey. Oh my gosh, I got to get more from her. Rats are small and quick. I don't know much about the Chinese zodiac. Selena, we should do a show on the Chinese zodiac compared to the Western zodiac. Capricorns, true side. Oh. Well, Edward, when I was a teenager, I was a runaway and I was living on the streets. I was a hustler, as they're called in New Orleans. They actually have signs on the doors to the bars. Must be 18, no shirts, no shoes, no service, no hustlers. And a hustler is a young guy, a young hooker, a gigolo for gay people. I was a hustler. And I've been with, a horse. I didn't see the SE at the end. I got it through sex. And then when I was a bartender, again, I was going home with a person every night or a group of people every night. So it was sex. I was never a needle user. Needles scare me. To this day, I get nauseous when I have to go for my blood test. The thought of that going into me just hurts. Which is ironic because I'm covered in tattoos. We got horses and chickens, and I love this. You guys are so awesome. There are works out there that combine Western and Eastern astrology. I love astrology. I love Western astrology because I use it in my tarot readings. The class I just did recently, or on Saturday, great class. I felt so bad for everybody though, because it was a 3-hour class. And all I could think of was, I need another hour. So yeah, we're a whole zoo in here. You are not kidding. All right. Honestly, if you guys have questions, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. I do want to say that over the past year that I've been doing my YouTube channel, I've only had to go to the hospital one time, and that was, I think I had, the hell was that called? It was some kind of infection. It was really bad in my intestines, and I was put in quarantine, and um, it gave me stinky shits. And anyway, that was the last time I had to go to the hospital, but that was an easy fix. I've had, um, what's it called? Pneumonia, uh, at least once a year for the past however long. Um, yeah, I appreciate the I'm proud of you. That's nice, but honestly, it's not like I have a choice. Um, this is my life. The only choice I have is, am I going to let it dictate my future, or am I going to take control of it? That's honestly the only question. Um, One of my favorite things to say is, never let your future be dictated by your past. I'm not going to let my future be dictated by this situation. Okay. Um, it's one of the reasons I love reading cards, is because I could sit down and work. It's not physically stressful until the end of the day when it hits. Um, I hate getting shots and blood work. It really hurts because of fibromyalgia. Oh, honey bunny, I'm so sorry. That would hurt. I have a friend, or had a friend, PJ. She had fibromyalgia, and the same thing. She couldn't get the injections without it causing her severe pain. So I get it. I'm sorry you're going through that, my love. Um, you're 4 hours north of New Orleans in central Mississippi. I was in Mississippi one time. We went over the bridge to the beach there in Mississippi. And when I say beach, you walk out for like a block in this deep of water. It's um I didn't enjoy it. It was a man-made beach. I did enjoy driving over that big bridge though. That was pretty cool. Uh yeah, that bridge. How do you What happens if you break down? Because isn't it like a single lane going each way? I'm sure somebody's broken down. Anyway, everybody, it is World AIDS Day. So spare a thought for people who are going through this. You may not see them. Oh, hold on. Bobby, how could you? I brought slides. This is the HIV virus. Okay. This is the HIV virus and a sperm cell. You see how much larger the sperm cell is than the HIV cell. That means for condoms like lambskin, that HIV virus is going to be able to penetrate the condom. So use polyurethane condoms. All right. And here's another shot of what the HIV virus looks like. I'm going to close it out here with some facts for you guys. As of last year, there were 40.8 million people living with HIV on our planet. 40.8 million. All right. The new infections last year, people who were freshly diagnosed, was 1.3 million people last year. All right. 630,000 people died of AIDS-related deaths last year. People on antiretroviral therapy, the ART treatment, so people who are already on medications, there's 31.6 million people who are taking medication for this. And only 80% of people know their status. Okay, 87%. That's a huge unknown factor. All right. So, no, when I say there's people out there, this is what I mean. There's people out there. They're not talking to you about it, but they're out there. That also means you've got to be careful if you're sexually active, because these fuckers may not tell you that you have it. Okay? They didn't tell me. They may not know they have it. All right. So when you sleep with somebody, you're sleeping with everybody they slept with. All right. So if the people before them gave them something, you're going to get it too. All right. So use condoms. Thank you, Rebecca. Um, use condoms. All right. Polyurethane condoms. Do not double bag. All right. Do not put 2 condoms on thinking, oh, well, 1 condom would be good. I use 2. No. Bad. No. Mm-mm. Why? Because when you put the 2 layers on and friction, they're going to burst. Those condoms are going to make each other rip and tear, and you're going to get a useless product there. It's not going to do you any good. So single condoms, polyurethane. All right. Home testing is available. Talk to your doctor if you've been sexually active within the past 10 years, had unprotected sex. I advise everybody know your status. Usually, if you go to people in our age bracket, we're at the doctors a lot, so they're going to run those tests anyway. But if you're not used to getting blood tests, go down and get checked. All right. People like to bang. So let's be safe when we're doing it. All right. She bangs. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. You've been very, very supportive. You consider yourself lucky. You did not get HIV. You're bisexual. It was quite active back then. I know. I have friends who fucked everything without a condom and they don't have it. Or I had friends. I thought about going back to California for a visit just to take a look at my old hunting grounds to reconnect with my past, because I don't want to forget what I went through. I don't want to what's that word when you make it sound better or worse than it is? I want to know the truth. I want to remember things factually. So I'm thinking of going to Garden Grove, California for a trip coming up. Probably in the spring. So if I have any friends in California, in the LA area, Torrance area, Orange County area, let's hook up. I think it will be a healing journey, Bridget. Seeing that I'm not that person anymore can only reinforce the positive direction my life is taking. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for the stupidity of my youth. I forgive myself for the lifestyle I led. I was young. I didn't know any better. Nobody knew any better. We were the generation that got shit on with this. So we had to learn to deal with it. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for all the stupid shit I did as a youngster. I forgive myself for all the shit I did when I was on drugs. I've been clean since long before I met my husband. If I can forgive myself, you guys, you can forgive yourself. Never let your futures be dictated by your past. All right. All right, everybody. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me today for World AIDS Day to hear the Bobby tale. Later on today, in 4 hours, I will be on with Spirit Readings Gigi for Behind the Cards. we're going to dig into her life story today. So I invite you all to check that out. If you have people you think that this would help out, please send them the link, share it. I'm available to answer any questions, any fears, concerns. I got you. All right. Love you all. I'm going to go finish my egos. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.